Hello everyone, welcome back to The Budget Sportsman. Thank you so much for joining me on today's video. Today I want to give you a little bit of an update on my hunting season so far because it's been kind of a strange one, and then give you a little bit of insight into my first bow kill of the year also. Now, this year has been an incredibly slow start for me. Normally by the time November rolls around, I've got 2, maybe 3 deer in the freezer, several hunting videos out on YouTube, and this year none of that really happened, and there's a couple of reasons why. The first reason why is because our opening day of archery season here in Pennsylvania fluctuates depending on how the calendar falls. And this year it opened October 5th, which is about as late as it ever opens. Last year it opened September 30th. And so that cut into a little bit of hunting time that otherwise I would have had. Now the second reason is the early days of our archery season here, the deer movement was incredibly slow. I got out 3 times in the early part of the season and was skunked each time. Now there are some seasons that I've gone an entire year without getting skunked completely on 3 different hunts. But I got skunked 3 times in a row the first 3 hunts of the season. After that, I took a 2.5-week mission trip to the island of Fiji. It was a wonderful, wonderful time, but it certainly did cut into some of my archery hunting time as well as some of my muzzleloader hunting time, which has been typically a really productive time and season of the year for me. When I got back from Fiji, I had just about 2.5 days left of the muzzleloader season, and I wanted to really spend that with my kids. That's the time that I've traditionally taken my daughter out. This year I took my daughter and my son. He's 2.5 years old. We had a great time, saw a bunch of turkeys one night, did see a couple of deer the one night as well, but just didn't really have any luck with that. Some of that is just their age, Micah being young. Then about a week and a half ago or so, I kind of scouted my way into a new place. It's on private property. It's a place that I've been through there before. I've walked the area before, but I've never hunted that area. And the wind direction was kind of strange, so I worked my way in there and found a spot with some trails, a couple of rubs, and decided just to go ahead and set up and maybe on a future hunt push in a little bit deeper into that spot. And ended up with a spike coming right up underneath me, and then a 7 or 8 point, not super big, ended up looping around and coming straight down from my right hand side, which for me in a saddle is my weak side shot, and coming straight at me, so no shot. And I'm filming him, I'm looking at him, and I'm thinking I'm gonna pass him. And then he ends up standing directly in front of me at about 10 yards. And I've got my bow in my hand. I can't draw where he's at, but if he takes a couple more steps, I can draw and get a shot. So I thought if he takes a few more steps, I'm just gonna go ahead and shoot him. Just makes the rest of the season relaxing and just focus on shooting some does. So I made a shot from about 10 yards, and unfortunately I didn't get the main camera swung around because it kind of ended up being a little bit of a panic moment there when I decided I was going to go from not shooting him to I was going to shoot him. But I caught the footage on the 360 camera, and you can hear me say right after the shot, I just killed a buck.
Just killed a buck.
It was a 10-yard shot. The arrow sailed through and looked awesome just from my eye. Even watching the 360 camera footage back, to me it looked really, really good. Unfortunately, we picked up the trail of that buck and the blood was incredibly sparse. There was one short section, maybe 3 or 4 feet long, that the blood was really, really good. He maybe stopped there for a minute, I'm not sure. But after that, it was absolutely terrible. It was very difficult to follow the blood trail. We probably followed for about 300 yards and ultimately lost the blood trail. I went back the next day, did some searching in daylight, and unfortunately I just cannot figure out what happened. The shot looked really good to me. It felt really good. Everything looked perfect, but I did not recover that deer. And that's a real disappointment to me because I've had a pretty good string of good success with making kill shots on deer and not losing deer and not being able to recover them. But this is actually 2 years in a row that I've lost a deer that I shot with my bow. Really disappointing and really frustrating. But at the same time, I feel like I did my best work. I made the best shot that I could, did the best that I could to track and got some help to track, and we just weren't able to recover that deer. Toward the end of last week then, I was out and we started to see some rut activity. We had a little bit of a cold snap. We had 70 degrees one day, and by 2 days later, we had a high of about 50 degrees. So we had about a 20-degree drop over 2 days, and the deer certainly got moving. Started to see some bucks moving. One night I had some good activity with some bucks, but they just weren't in range. Things didn't work out for any shots there. But then the following night, I had a hunt where I tried to climb one tree, realized it wasn't gonna work, ended up going back and climbing the tree where I was the night before. And right at the very end of shooting light, I had a couple of does come through perfectly where I wanted them to come. I hit record on the main camera, only to find out the battery was dead. It was supposed to be fully charged when I put it in there, but the battery was dead. So I didn't get that shot on camera either, but again, I did get it on 360 camera. Meh. Well, somehow I turned my camera on and the battery was dead, but I just shot a doe. And I heard her thrashing down here, so. Now, my favorite part of this hunt was probably that we had a decent blood trail, and my daughter Grace was out with me, as well as my wife and my son. And my daughter was trying to help with the blood trail. She was doing a fantastic job, but I had already seen the doe lying up ahead, and she hadn't seen it because she was so focused on the blood trail, and she almost walked right up to that deer before she finally saw it.
That doesn't go. Wait. It has to. See. That's the deer.
I didn't know if you had seen it, Grace.
Big deer.
So I know this video is kind of a strange update. It's not really my typical hunting video style, but I have really failed this year on getting good footage of the hunts. And it's just, the hunts have not gone well, but I am thankful for that one deer in the freezer. It's now November the 6th, the day that I'm recording this. Again, it's very warm here, unseasonably warm here. It's made a difference in the rut, but I do think over the next couple days, I'm gonna see that rut activity start picking up. We're supposed to see some colder temperatures over the next couple days, and I'm looking forward to being back in the deer woods and continuing to hunt. Let me know down in the comments how your season has gone. Has it been a rough season for you, or has it been a really good season? Let me know in the comments. I look forward to hearing from you. Until next time, remember to get off YouTube and get outdoors into God's great creation.